couple more questions from the fans. Jerry wants to know, is there any other plot line from Outlander or experience that you would have liked to have included that you never got to? Is there any stone that was left unturned for Roger?
There's a few. There's a few. I sort of condemned myself quite early on by reading the books, which was very helpful and very unhelpful all at the same time because I found it a very useful resource. 'Cause it's not something you always have going into a show. It's a series of books on which to give yourself an idea of the character and the world that you're about to step into. And it was really good for the character sort of development early doors as well, because I got a really good idea of what Roger was about. But you inevitably also come across quite a lot of scenes that you get really excited about and are really looking forward to shooting, and you get a very set idea of how you think that's going to go down. And either it doesn't happen at all, sometimes, not always, it doesn't happen at all, or it happens in a very different way, and it's quite jarring with you because you're like, oh, I thought it was going to happen like this.
Right.
But you know, it's an adaptation of a very large series of very large books, so we can't all have all of the things in there that we like and that we love. But so you just have to sort of get on with it. And
Is there one you ever advocated for strongly? Like, hey, can't we get to, is it too late to get this in there?
Yes, so there's a few. So there was one, if I'm remembering it correctly, it was when Roger proposes, or certainly has the idea of marrying Brianna for the first time, and they're walking along the River Ness in Inverness, and there's a scene in a church which is just by the banks of the River Ness, and it's there that he sees himself marrying her, and I think it's there at Christmas Eve, I think, if I'm remembering. I might have this slightly wrong. It was a few years ago I read it, and he proposes to her in a very wintry sort of feeling Inverness in the 60s. And I thought the way it was written was really sweet, really romantic. There was quite a lot of stuff which I had been looking forward to shooting on in season 4. There's a whole voyage, a whole transatlantic voyage in the 18th century with Roger, and he comes across the villainous Stephen Bonnet. Yeah, there was a lot of that story which I was sort of hoping that we would shoot, and that we didn't manage to shoot. There wasn't quite the space to get it in there. And I sort of had a bit of a longing to have just explored some of that stuff, because it did a lot for the character, and it did a lot for the story, and a lot for Stephen Bonnet as well, who I thought was just brilliantly played by Ed Spilliers. But you know, you can't have, when, like I said, when you're referencing books, it's a bittersweet thing, because you can't have it all.
You know, it's not all going to make it. Yeah, it's just literally impossible. Well, we can do our fanfic. We can do our own run and gun version. I've got time in my hands if you want to. You and Sophie. Yeah, we'll just redo it.
What would we call that? Just redo scenes and
yeah, Outlander Redux, like the Rankin Horowitz tapes.
Yeah, like
coming soon.